Thank you for inviting me to join you at this 2015 Climate Change Investment and Finance Summit. I wish I could be there in person, but thank you for letting me share through this technology. Today, we face essentially three questions about the climate crisis. The first is, must we change? Do we really have to change? Because we've enjoyed 200 years of seemingly cheap carbon-based energy, which has helped to fuel the rise of a magnificent and elaborate global civilization. Even today, 85% of all of our energy comes from carbon fuels. So do we have to change? Do we have to make our infrastructure more sustainable? Well, every day we are pouring 110 million tons of additional global warming pollution into the thin shell of atmosphere surrounding our planet as if it was an open sewer. And that extra heat energy trapped by man-made global warming pollution is now equivalent to the energy that would be released by more than 400,000 Hiroshima-class atomic bombs going off in our atmosphere every 24 hours. The consequences of that extra heat energy are already clear. Stronger storms, more destructive floods, deeper and longer droughts, crop failures, strengthening and spreading wildfires, tropical diseases spreading toward the polar regions, and melting ice and the sea level rise that comes with it. These and many other consequences are pushing our modern infrastructure to its breaking point and causing the threat of political disorder and even violence in regions like Syria, among many others. So the answer to that first question is yes, we must change. The scientists have long answered that question pretty loudly and clearly, but now Mother Nature is chiming in an even more persuasive way. The second question after must we change is, can we change? Do we have the ability to solve this crisis? If we did not, then people wouldn't want to hear about it. But fortunately, the answer to that second question is also yes. You can see it in the unbelievable and incredible progress that we're now seeing in the renewable energy market, with the cost of solar and wind coming down so rapidly. And we see it in the tremendous work of some of the companies represented here today. Solar, wind, and perhaps most importantly, energy efficiency technologies have been spreading so quickly that they have been far outpacing the predictions of the best analysts that we have. Just think, back in 2000, not that long ago, the best predictions were that wind capacity in the world would reach 30 gigawatts by 2010. In reality, we exceeded that goal by 12 times over. In 2002, analysts predicted that the solar energy market would grow by a very healthy 1 gigawatt per year by 2010. Well, when 2010 rolled around, we exceeded that prediction 17 times over. Last year, we exceeded it 48 times over. And this year, we're on track to exceed it by more than 60 times over. So, thankfully, the answer to that second question is also yes, unequivocally, yes, we can solve this crisis. So the third and final question after must we change and can we change is, will we change? Well, that's a question that's pretty ripe for discussion this year because 2015 is the critical year for solving the climate crisis. World leaders will gather in Paris November 30th through December 11th to forge a bold new climate agreement. And this time they're going to succeed. The architecture of the agreement is different. As a famous poet in my country wrote in the last century, after the last no comes a yes. And on that yes, the future world depends. So in order for these Paris negotiations to be successful, it's crucial that the investment and finance communities play an important leadership role in identifying the economic, social, and environmental benefits of a world that doesn't see a temperature increase of more than 2 degrees Celsius. It needs to be less than that. In Australia, business is now leading the way. That's a complicated story, as you know, where the government is concerned. But business has to return to the forefront, along with government, of innovation in climate solutions and in taking climate action. By doing so, Australia can help ensure that this Conference of the Parties, the 21st in the series, the critical one, does indeed produce a strong emissions reduction agreement. All sectors of society, government, business, civil societies, communities, all have to be engaged in making the Paris outcome a successful one. But just as importantly, we've got to engage in the months and years beyond Paris in building a global, sustainable economy. We're going to win this struggle. That's now certain. But the remaining question is, how long is it going to take us to mobilize an effective answer? Because damage is being done every day, and we need to solve it more quickly. Investors and companies that are focused on resource productivity, that are nimble and flexible, and ones who appropriately incorporate the externalities, both positive and negative, that are being driven by the climate crisis, can and will thrive as we make the transition to a low-carbon economy. As investors, we can identify those business models that are likely to succeed and showcase the opportunities that are inherent in this historic transition. It's the biggest business opportunity in the history of the world. And I think it's time to realize that in this current environment, the future drivers of financial returns are likely to differ significantly from the past drivers of financial returns. For example, today, with the effects of climate change firmly taking hold and more apparent, and with air pollution having detrimental impacts in so many cities, and particularly in places like China and India, citizens and governments alike are starting to act. And this is resulting in new sets of restrictions and limitations, and also incentives and opportunities. Overall, while there is always uncertainty in the short term around the specific policies that governments will adopt, and also the technologies that will be available on a widespread basis going forward, the general direction of travel is now becoming exceedingly clear. For example, due to our increased global connectivity, we are now able to rapidly disseminate new solutions in a way that simply was not possible in prior eras. Entire industries are changing rapidly before our eyes, some of them in an exponential rather than linear fashion. And while this is paving the way for tremendous value creation, it is also undeniably resulting in the classic phenomenon known as creative destruction. The old analogy from ice hockey applies for investors. You don't skate to where the puck is, you skate to where the puck is going to be. So what does that mean, this new business environment, for investors? Well, that's part of what the next panel is going to explore. But I'll conclude by saying that, in my opinion, it's a very exciting set of opportunities for those who fully integrate sustainability into their investment models and look not only at environmental sustainability and the implications of the climate crisis and all the opportunities that are now emerging to solve it, but also at human capital and the impact on communities, the ethics in the executive suites of companies that you're investing in, and all aspects of sustainability. In taking that approach, the opportunities can become a lot clearer. I wish all of you well. I'm very excited and optimistic, and I look forward to learning about the results of this year's meeting. Thank you.